Alright, so these days there's just too much BS. Too much BS on the internet about how fast the spinner goes. I've seen 20,000 RPMs, 100,000 RPMs, 100,000 miles. Wow, that's a feat, 100,000 miles an hour. I figure it's time to put some actual true science behind it. Maybe some actual math. Convert RPMs into the actual radius. And get some real measurements here. Here we have a laser pointer. It's supposed to take 3 AA batteries. I bought it from a yard sale, really cheap, but it has some battery acid corrosion. People don't take batteries out and they leak. It was ruined pretty much, so I soldered an 18650 on here. Put that 4.2 volts at a full charge. Should be good enough for what we're doing. Quick, fast solution. And here's our 3.8 volt nominal 18650. Should be enough to count what we need to count. Slide this over. So we'll use this and this battery. Now, unfortunately, the laser pointer does not stay on. The laser RPM counter doesn't stay on by itself. So I have a solution for this. It does log memory, average, high, and low, but if you shove this into the actual test button, the test button will initiate, and this Slayer guitar pick will hold that test button down. So let's start off with the plastic one here. First, I don't know if this is going to be the best clamp or if I need to find a different way to rig it up, depending on the radius of the spinner. That's going to be the questionable factor. Don't know if this is going to... No. See, I used to own some big ones of these. I don't know what happened to them. I really should figure that out. We have our air pressure nozzle for air compressor. I've already done this with a can of compressed air. The best I've been able to get out of it is 4,922 RPMs. But that's with a can of compressed air. Now, 120 psi of compressed air out of an air compressor, that kind of changes the ball game just a little bit. We're gonna have to rig up a different way to hold these. Well, I have 100-gram brass weighted ones. I have ones as light as aluminum, 22 grams. You know, different weights going on here. I want to see how weight impacts speed. 88 grams. This one comes in at 28 grams to 30. Plastic ones average 51, 52. That's with the ones with the bearings on the outside. And then I have the weighted bearing plastic version, which comes in about 62 with the weights on the outside. These are the ones I want to go through and test as soon as we figure out a better clamping mechanism. Let me go see what I can find. Alright, I know this isn't the best, but you know what? These are actually very strong metal clamps. I think these will do the job for what I'm looking to do. Grab a little piece of reflector. We'll spin it slow first so we know we have only 1 count per rotation. Kind of a confirmation. I'm going to need power to the laser for the RPM reflective counter. Make sure we do not put this in backwards. There we go. Jam this in. That's my permanent on switch. Alright. I don't think you can see the display on this really, so you know what? Maybe we should. Let's bring this around this way. That makes more sense now, doesn't it? So now I can give you confirmation that it is not counting here. Otherwise you will see a little notch light up right there. It does count there. You see that light right there? Whoops, where's it at? Right there. There's a little display that lights up right there in the corner. And we're not counting this one. No count, no count, count. No count, no count, count. No count, no count, count. So if I spin it faster, it increases. Okay, there we go. So let's let it rip. Almost 10,000 RPMs. So as my compressor charges up, we're going to go over to here. We're going to pull this permanent test switch out, my guitar pick. Eventually I'm going to put a switch on there. You can see our highest reading. Our lowest was 2.9. Our highest reading was 9,881 RPMs. So let's try a 100-gram metal spinner. And again, we'll put this right at the very end here, sticking off like this, because I need to go a little bit past where it would originally read. I want to make sure it doesn't read on this side. No reading on that side, perfect reading on that side. No reading on this side, perfect reading on that side. Beautiful. So spin her up. That's about right. So let's see what a metal one does at 100 grams versus 52-gram plastic one. Does weight make a difference? I've lost the reflector. That's going to be a problem, huh? Can't count it if it's not reflecting. Okay, maybe a new reflector every time might be necessary for the strength of the adhesive. Or I need to make sure I keep my air away from where I'm putting the reflector. I may have blown that off. I think there's a good chance I blew that off. Let's see. Try to point it more towards the middle. Rubbing alcohol may have helped too. I probably could have got, well, this brass, it really doesn't want to stick to brass, honestly. I may have to glue this one. We got a count there, no count there, count there, no count there. Let's try again. We'll see if we can keep it down. I think metal ones are going to be a little harder to get up there in speed. Not only are they harder to get up there in speed, I'm not going to dare stick my hand in there to stop it. You can see the reflector just jumped off on me actually. And I lost. What kind of damage did I do to this one? Surprisingly not that much, but yeah, that reflector jumped right off on me. Don't know if I'm going to be able to get this one to count on the very edge without reflecting off of these steel balls. Counts, doesn't count, doesn't count, counts. Okay, we're good. Look at that. 125 psi, let's let it rip. Let's start it up here. Yeah, that's not bad for one that weighs only 32 grams. That's actually pretty good for the weight. I'm surprised. I lost the reflector at the end there. You saw that bounce off, so I may have actually gone a little higher. So we have a count, nothing, nothing, count, nothing, nothing, count, nothing, nothing, count, yep. And we're good. So let's start her off. About the average being 10,000. I'm gonna let this one spin just see how long it goes for. But with the average of about 10,000 RPMs, let's see what was our high on this one. Let's pull my switch out. 9,671. Where's my laser? Because it's shorter in diameter, I may have to somehow raise this up. There we go. Count, no, no, count, no, no, count, no, no, count, count, no, no. Okay, so it looks like we're good here with that little bit sticking off the edge. I don't know if it's going to stay. I reused this one again. May not stay. May fly off in the middle. Count, nothing, nothing, and count, nothing, nothing, and count. Let's try it. Wow, that is my thousand. That is the winner. 16,000 RPMs, and then some. That's a little R1E8 bearing. That particular bearing I found in 3 different spinners so far, and I found that one to be the best bearing. 16,000 RPMs. I did not expect that out of something that is so light. Just to prove we're still on. We got no reading there. We got no reading there, and yes, we have a reading there. So. For those that are doubting, let me bring it in a little closer, as close as I can, and try to keep both of them in the frame. What we're looking for is the little flash symbol up here. That's my reading. So we got no reading there. It picks it up there. It doesn't pick it up there. It doesn't pick it. Picks it up there. Nothing. Nothing picks it up. That's what I'm doing. Is I'm counting 1 full rotation per minute. 16,000, unbelievable. I can't even believe, I didn't expect that. I honestly didn't. That one shocked me. I don't know if I could take that one any faster. I wonder. I was kind of getting leery on letting that one go, honestly. $19,000 before I ran out of air. Alright, you know, somebody left a comment on a YouTube video that I left a comment on that said, hey, you know what, be careful, because said that they got one of them up to 18,000 RPMs. You know, my thing is, proof is in the pudding. Is there a picture, is there a video? If there's no picture, no video, I don't know if I can believe it. There's the video. I gotta believe it now. Apparently some spinners are capable of reaching 18, 19,000 RPMs, because you just saw it here. Definitely have to do the math on that. That's estimating the math in my head right now, just round figure, that's somewhere about 185 miles an hour. Unbelievable. I did not expect that at all. I'll be honest with you. That surprises me. This one has completely shocked me. Since we already know the heavier ones definitely do not do good, like the big brass one with the ceramic bearing, I'm not even going to try the long spinner one. I don't think there's a reason to. Plus, this is going to be hard to set up and not get false reflection off of. I mean, this thing is just reflection. So, well, while we're letting that spin down, why not? I'll give it a shot at least, because I know some of you are young. You should at least try it. You should at least try it. Don't give up. Science is science. I can't believe this thing's still spinning. Alright, let's see if I can at least maybe get a reading, a non-false positive reading off of this one. It's going to be hard, I'll admit. That is, if this one ever stops spinning. This is an R188 also as well. I want to document this whole thing, because that reached over 19,000 RPMs. I want this thing to actually slow down all the way, and I can actually look at the video footage and see exactly how long it spun for and everything. It really did not surprise me. If that broke apart, that probably would have stuck in the wooden fence behind me. And luckily I got about, I don't know, a good 40 yards in front of me of open space before it hits a tree if it goes that direction. But if it goes behind me, well, that's a wooden fence. If it goes in the air, I'm just going to scream, look out. There we go, we're done. Unreal. Let's look at this real quick. I'm still having a hard time believing this. 19,052 RPMs. $3.50 spinner. You know, my math may have been wrong. This is actually, again, one of my favorite R188s that I've seen. This is also one of the most perfectly balanced spinners I own. Some of them are always slightly off on their balance. This one has a gyro effect, very slight because of its lightweight, but it's also machine cut aluminum, and it was done so well that it has absolutely no odd shake to it. It does right now, because you know what? It really doesn't even have an odd shake to it, even with that reflector still on there, and that should be throwing it off balance. That's impressive. We're gonna set this aside as the winner. I'm gonna leave the label on there, because that is a mark of it went through the territory. It went through the torture. We're gonna leave it. All right. And the last and final one. Let's get the pick switch back in. There we go. We don't have a reading. Oh, nope, we got a reading. Reading. Oh, we got a reading in the wrong spot too, though. Let's move it over. No reading, no reading, reading, no reading, no reading, reading. Whoop, one. Nope, I'm getting false positives here. I knew this was going to be hard, but I didn't know how hard. I'm getting 2 readings of circle there. 2 readings of rotation. 1. Did that read? It's not reading. Let's move it closer. Let's see if I can narrow down the laser diameter. It's reading on the wrong one. It's reading on 2, but it's not reading on the one with the reflector. Oh, isn't that ironic? The one I need to read on is the one with the reflector, and I'm not getting a reading on that one. Alright, now we got a one with a reflector, but we're also getting a reading on that one. And so we're getting a reading on two of these. Can't count that if it has a reading on two. Now we're not getting a reading on the reflector at all. Again, reflector, reflector. I'm still getting two readings. I guess we can run it and divide by 2. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a divide by 2, or we can just reflect all 3 and divide by 3. That might be the best way to do it, because of the way this is just so reflective. Reading, 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 reading. Yeah, let's just do it and divide by 3. That's going to be the easiest way. Oops, and there goes my compressor hose getting in the way. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yep, there it is. Okay, so we'll divide this one by 3. 10,000 divided by 3 is only about 3,500, 3,300 RPMs. Just like this is 82 grams in weight. The other one was about 100 grams in weight, solid brass. So the heavier ones just are not going to get the higher RPMs that we were looking for. The lightest one, 19,000 RPMs. Let's go do the math, figure out the miles per hour on this. I just figured I'd show you real quick. That's where we sit, about 100, close to 128 pounds of pressure. That's coming off my output side. It's charged up to about 135 pounds of pressure. So it's about 128, almost close to 130. The tank is only rated for 135 total, so yeah, this is the best I can do with what I got. So, it's something. And the hose is ridiculously long because I was going all the way around the side of the house, trying to keep safety and standard. Plus I didn't want anything shooting up, breaking in the garage, puncturing my car. So I just want to show you these numbers real fast. Okay, so I'm back inside the house. I'm going to, I was estimating it at about 2.8 inches, but apparently I was wrong, 2.73 inches. Middle, which is about, let's set it down. .25, so actually 2.5. Yes, it's going to be 2.5. Every plastic one that I own, and I own several different ones from several different manufacturers, just, yeah, they're all the same plastic punch, all the same cutout. 1.55. Make sure I'm right in there. I will call it 1.55. Okay. These are actually slightly bigger, not by much, but just a little bit longer, as you can see here. If I line this up in the back, you'll see it overhangs just a tad on all the corners. So we'll have to measure this one up now. It's going to come into 1.6. So it is actually slightly bigger, 3.2. Over 19,000 RPMs was very, very impressive. Just to show you, I'm still zeroed out here. Did that show up on there? There it is. Alright. So let me take this to the furthest point and bring this into about center, 1.15. Yep, 1.15. And it is going to be 2.3. So here's my calibration weight at 100 grams. I'm just going to call that 25. 99.7. I was saying 80. 79.8. I wasn't far off. White plastic. 1.5. 50.4. I said they average between 50 and 52 on the plastic ones with the ball bearings. I'll show you the difference here. 53. Some of that may be metal 608 ball bearing in the middle versus ceramic 608 ball bearing in the middle. That could be the difference there. Let's just pull this one out as a random one. 51.8. Yep. So I'm going to say they all average between 50 and 52 for most of the ones with the 608 bearings in the middle that are using your 608 bearings on the outside and the caps. Now some of the weight difference has to do with them drilling out these outer bearings. So they drill these out for two reasons. One, so you can't put them in the middle. That way you'll have to actually buy a new bearing. You can't just swap the bearing that you've managed to screw up to the outside. The other reason is they claim that they drill these out so they can try to use that as a counterbalance so they can actually weight it properly. They're trying to shave away metal on the outside to weigh it properly, you know, to balance it basically. Because of that, some of these are very sharp. You can see here in the edge, see that little ridge there? That's a very, very sharp little ridge in the inside, so you have to be careful because they didn't really pay attention to the way they were drilling that one. And if it's a smaller kid, getting your finger in there would cut up their finger pretty well, actually. What's this one coming in at? 37.2. I called it 38 originally. Let me see. 37.2. Counterweights. 61.4 with a metal bearing in the middle. Here's what I got. So the red fidget ceramic bearing, can of air, compressed air 4,922. I didn't do this on video. 3.1 inch circumference diameter, was about 45.393,145 miles per hour. So this was kind of a baseline on a can of compressed air. Of course, this is a new can of compressed air at room temperature. If you go to run the test the second time using the same can, the can gets colder and you get less air pressure, less PSI out of it. So kind of unfair when you go to run it the second time. So I stuck to a new can every time I did that one for a baseline. And we'll leave that one for last. The brass metal proprietary unknown ceramic hybrid bearing, 100 grams, 99.7 grams in weight, 2.73 inches in diameter with the 5,192 RPMs, measured 42.168126 miles per hour. Now, that was one of the slowest ones. Let's jump right to the triple brass rainbow 80 gram weight with the 608 bearing in the middle. No, that's wrong. It does not have the 608 bearing. Let me correct my notes. R188. I'm sure that's an R188 inside this. This is not a 608 bearing in the middle. I know it's an R188. Triple brass rainbow electroplated one, which still has the reflector on it, which we didn't even use. It came out with a total of 10,774 RPMs, reflecting off all three poles. So that's 3 rotations that needed to be divided by 3, which is 3,591 when being hit with 128 psi of air, which came out to 26.7080625 miles per hour, and it weighs in at 79.8. So the two heaviest ones, 99.7, and we'll just call this about 80 grams, seem to be the slowest when using air to try to spin them up. The $5 Walmart 3.1 inches, 9,671 RPMs with 128 psi, reached 89.19. I'm just going to round it off to 100th. 89.19 miles per hour. weighs in at 61.4 grams, and spun for about 3 minutes after reaching 9,671 RPMs. What else do we have here? The white one, 3.1 inches in diameter, 9,881 RPMs. Weighs in at 50.4 grams, which gives me 91.12 miles per hour. Now for my favorite one, just because it is so nice, although the reflector did get blown off about 3/4 of the way through getting hit with the air from the compressor. I noticed this when I reviewed the video footage, unfortunately. So I have a feeling this would have reached about 9,500 RPMs, close to about what everything else was doing. But because it got blown off, the RPM counter basically got stuck at about 8,462 RPMs. So if we do the math based on 3.2 inches diameter at 8,462 RPMs, it came out to 80.55 miles per hour. This weighs in at 37.2 grams, which is an impressively light, nice, comfortable, and yet still has a very fun lot of gyro effect because of the way the weight's all focused at the end of these steel ball bearings. If the reflector didn't bounce off, hypothetically, if the reflector didn't bounce off, I believe it would have still reached about 9,500 RPMs, and that would have put it at about 90 miles an hour, which would have put it on par with the white plastic, and would have put it on par with green Walmart. Starting to see a trend here. Weight, bearing, size. I mean, if we look at the ones that are all 188 bearings, the ones that are all 608 bearings, weight and size, I'm sure there's a whole other equation that I could probably work up here and quite possibly predict, just based on weight, size, and what bearing it's running. If I was to buy a new one off of Amazon, I might actually be able to predict weight, size, and what bearing it's running, how many RPMs it will hit if I shot it with 128 psi of air. That's just a theory at this point. I mean, I would have to basically find a seller on Amazon that actually discloses the bearing, the specifics of the bearing, you know, hybrid, ceramic, how many balls, 8 ball, 10 ball, R188 or 608 standard, the actual weight and the actual circumference, and then from there I could probably buy it and then turn around and say, okay, when I get this, it's going to spin about this much. When I hit it with a can of air, it's going to do about this many RPMs, or if I hit it with 128 psi off my air compressor, it's going to be about this many RPMs, and I should be, if I do the math right, I should be correct within probably 2%. I'm just, like I said, complete theory. I don't know. I haven't really sat down and thought about it too much yet. Now, for the most favorite and surprising one of them all, the small black one, which, by the way, I noticed has this little aerodynamic design to it. They all have these little cuts on each side, so it doesn't matter which way you spin it. It's got these little little lips, little cuts that go on here. I wonder if that has something to do with, besides the lightweight, also how fast it was able to achieve and cut through the air. Because if I measure at these points where they come together, where these cuts are, it is the thinnest at that point compared to any of these. Even though this one is also has a tapered edge on it, it's still not as thin as this. That may have something to do with it. This one measures at 2.3 inches in circumference in diameter, and twice, because I ran it twice, I didn't believe the first one, twice we hit over 18,000 RPMs. The top one was 19,052 RPMs, and it only weighs 24.9 grams, so about 25 grams. It's running an R188 bearing, 8 ball, not a 10 ball, it's actually an 8 ball R188, one of my favorites, which, doing the math, came to 130 miles 130.36 miles per hour. Absolutely astonishing. And the fact that it hit over 18,000 RPMs. There was somebody left a comment that actually said that, you know, somebody he knows on a chat said that he hit over 18,000 RPMs, and that, you know, if we continue this experiment, we should be careful. And yet, being the lightest, to be able to reach that kind of speed. But very, very interesting. There seems to be a pattern where I think I could probably predict based on just, I can't include this because this is a 2-pole. But let's say I think I have enough data based on just the 3-pole spinners alone that I could probably predict based on 3 poles, weight and type of bearing, R188 versus 608, ceramic versus metal. You'd have to pull the ceramic out because that would be a different bearing, of course. And these are all metal. Yep, that's correct. Okay. I feel like I could make predictions on a new one that I buy, which is an interesting theory. I don't know how much that is true, or if I'm going to try it. But yeah. It's accurate enough to make an accurate estimate of RPMs or miles per hour for that, just based off of those few variables, if those variables were correctly reported on the sales ad that I went to purchase it from. Now, the other thought that I had was, every time I ran a can of compressed air, whether it be on one with a metal bearing or one with a ceramic bearing, it was all the plastic ones that I ran the compressed air on, by the way, it was always about 4,500 to 4,800, 4,900 RPMs, where every time I ran the compressor, we were getting an average of 9,800, 9,600. It seems that the air compressor was giving me about twice the amount of RPM spin off the plastic spinners than a can of air was. Now, every manufacturer of can of air may be slightly different as far as how much compression they actually fit in there. A lot of that's going to be based on weight, you know, measured in mass when the air is actually turned into a liquid by whatever liquid is inside that can. But at the same time, I was using brand new cans. I had a 6-pack of brand new cans. I was popping one open and measuring it right on the spot and doing that. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording a video. This was only for my personal curiosity at the time. But then all these videos started coming on YouTube claiming 1,000-mile-an-hour spinners, stuff that should break sound barriers, and I'm no. I have to show otherwise. But I think I can also safely predict that if my compressor was actually putting out 128 pounds pressure, the fact that the cans of air would always average about 44 to 4,600 RPMs, and the compressor was averaging about 9,800 RPMs, 97, 9,800 RPMs, then it might be safe to say within margin of error that the brand of compressed air that I have in a can of air may actually be doing close to about half of what my air compressor was doing, so about 64 psi on the can of compressed air. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. Ask them to back it up with math, and if they can't back it up, do it for them, prove them wrong. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. As I mentioned, I know it was long. Not all my videos are quite this long. Sometimes they are, but I spend a lot of time cutting, snip, cut, cutting them down, and yeah. So I'll be back to the electronic videos now that I got this out of the way. This was really bothering me for some reason. I had to put this proof out there. I had to get this out of the way. I don't know why. I just needed to. So now that this is out of the way, I can go back to doing some electronics and some of the repairs I was working on and stuff, and not worry about the stupidity videos out there and feel free to drop a link to my video in their video's comments, and they can watch my video if they want to learn something. And yeah, if you like this video, keep in mind they're not all this long, but feel free to subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell down there so you're notified of when a new video is released, because I don't release on any type of weekly basis or any kind of schedule, so you will need to put up a notification. Sometimes when I have time, I may take footage that I might have from 3 or 4 weeks or even 2 months, and I may actually have a good day and just edit 4 videos in a row and post 4 videos that same night, like I did a couple of nights ago. So that way you just have extra videos to watch that night. That's all. But I don't have a set schedule. It's not possible with the way my life is to actually do a set schedule. So subscribe and notify. Very important to hit that notification button so that way you don't miss the next video that comes out. And leave a comment down below. Any questions, any opinions, thoughts, what have you down below. Thumbs up if you liked it, and keep on tinkering.